Alex Ansary here, May 15th, 2015. Just a few thoughts. First thing in the morning here, 7:30 a.m. About to do a quick little run. I want to get back in the habit of sharing some thoughts with you first thing in the morning as I start my day and start thinking about reality and, the larger picture. Because this is about the larger picture. This isn't just about you. This isn't just about me. What's going to happen to us, how we're going to survive. It's what we're doing here. It's ultimately what type of a reality are we in and why. And there is a huge place for us to be questioning individually those questions. Not having it delivered to us in a book or a magazine or through a podcast. Although there are clues. There are clues around us. There are things that other humans before us have discovered. But a lot of things we got to discover through our own inquisitive nature, through our own curiosity, through our own desire to know the truth, and our own willingness to do the work to get that truth. There's about 4 to 5 hours of work I do every day for a guy who runs a website, a successful website, and I am helping him maintain a current, up-to-date news feed every single day. There's 10 fresh articles of quality, top stories taking place on our planet. A lot of people view information by itself as toxic, which I find to be unfortunate. Information in of itself is not toxic. It's how we relate to it. It's how we interpret it. It's whether or not we're actually being responsible for our own actions and figuring out what part we may have to play in the whole thing. I'll tell you what, it is toxic if you have people that are looking at stuff and just assuming it's just the Republicans or it's just the Democrats. And we have people all throughout our society doing just that with our own partisan paradigm conspiracy theory that it's just the other party. Or it's just this group of immigrants. Or it's just this group of people from this country that supposedly hate America for its freedoms. Big picture, it's important to understand the psychosis that mankind is under. And if you're undergoing some form of awakening, first of all, take it all the way. Have an awakening in your relationship life. Have an awakening in your in terms of what you eat. Have an awakening in terms of what you put your time and attention on. Not just an awakening to the fact that the world is not the way that they said that it is, or that how your parents may have described the world to you, or your school teachers, or your mentors, or those that you put your faith and trust in the past or currently. You may wake up to the fact there's some major grand deception going on, but truly waking up is a much more holistic thing. So when we look at the current events of our day, and we see the stage wars, we see the global military-industrial complex, we see this global surveillance society, we see cloning, we see genetically modified food, and then we find out what that does to us, and we realize that this is being allowed to take place, the altering of the human body, of the human genome. And we could see clear, definitive, quantitative evidence that whatever could be taking place in a future war situation between China and the United States would be allowed to happen and directed to happen because they are so intertwined. So coming upon these realizations is not meant to send someone into a depressed, spiraling downward slope into confusion and depression. It's a very spiritual thing. It's a very spiritual thing to understand that such a sophisticated system is at play. That's also loaded with synchronicities, with backdoor traps or escape routes or ways of breaking the codes of the matrix. Even though it is a matrix in of itself, there are human beings in this matrix with amazing, creative, and destructive capabilities. It's like this wild card that's been implanted into this reality. Human consciousness is a very interesting thing. And experiencing what we're experiencing and understanding it is not meant to send someone into some doom and gloom, depressed mindset. On the contrary, if there's something special about the human species that has, for some reason, at some point in history, the wheels in motion began to put us in some sort of a control system by entities or beings that I would not describe as all-powerful or perfect, but working within a certain parameter. Working within a certain parameter. Not gods, not goddesses, not immortals either. They may want to call themselves immortals. There is a feeding on humanity, a controlling on humanity. That part is clear. The allegories of this reality are all throughout our pop culture, science fiction films, books, magazines, even comic books. It is in the collective human consciousness. The meme is alive. So what is it all about? There is a huge role for the philosopher in this day and age to ask the ultimate questions. What is the control structure all about? And where is our power? Because we are not powerless. I understand those that have decided, you know what, I don't want to look at the conspiracy anymore. I want to live my life. I want to be healthy. I understand them. I understand their desire for health and true wealth, not necessarily of a monetary sense, but of a spiritual wealth. Because there are many that have gone down the rabbit hole of truth that have ended up very unhealthy because they haven't looked for the whole truth or sought the whole truth. They've misconfused fractals of truth for the whole truth and thus have been struck out of balance. Many people have been struck out of balance by misunderstanding what's going on and misunderstanding the conspiracy and looking at it from a victim state of consciousness. Or asking questions that perhaps aren't the ultimate questions to ask. For example, when is everybody going to wake up? Is not a very conscious question to ask. It's not going very deep into your philosophical capability to really look at something from a deeper perspective. It's not when is everybody going to wake up, like this is just some linear trajectory of just a no, this is not Pac-Man. This is not tic-tac-toe. This is not some easy equation, and I don't think it's meant to. Every second of every day we are being affected by this reality, and we can affect this reality as well. But are we going to affect this world in a positive way, or are we going to be infected by this world in a negative way? See, these are things to ask ourselves, to be conscious, to actually have that question in our mind. The mind is a powerful thing. And oftentimes an idea is formed in the mind, or a thought, or a solution, and then everything else in the physical reality changes after that. Say you lose something, say you lose your keys, say you lose an important tool, and you need to find that important tool to get your car to work again, and it's all a matter of your mind, or your brain, your consciousness, having an understanding of where that is. But there are aspects of our consciousness, aspects of how our brain functions, aspects of how we get our ideas that is not based in memory. It's based in a flash of insight and knowingness. That knowingness when someone's coming around that corner, that knowingness when someone is about to text you, that knowingness when something is wrong, that knowingness when someone is watching you, that knowingness that there's something bigger than what we are experiencing here on the earth at this moment. That knowingness. That knowingness. And that knowingness is powerful. Because there is a bigger picture. And if people are just focused on the flesh in their own body, I don't have all the answers, and I don't need to have all the answers. But inside, I know there's a greater truth. And I know there's no point in worrying about the flesh and what's going to happen to it and this world. And that there is a great, great importance to really understanding what's happening in real time on the world with the conspiracy and humanity and the human conscious response to the global conspiracy to turn us into androids, to take away our masculine and feminine attributes, whatever is directing the control structure. But the control structure is there. There is evidence of this control structure all throughout our world and all throughout the media. We are seeing how the control structure's influence has infected the majority of the human population that's connected to pop culture today. So philosophically, we ask the question, as the minority for some of us, not a racial minority, but an energy, vibration, consciousness minority, what our role is on the earth today. What is our role on the earth today? How do we help expand consciousness on the earth today? Instead of being infected negatively by the world, how do we affect the world in a positive way to help people see that there is a greater truth behind the lies, beyond the lies, these illusions of separation that have bound our consciousnesses for so long, so many of us. Evolving is multidimensional. It's happening on several levels. It needs to happen on several levels. Keep that in mind. It's not just about one thing, not just about a political awakening. It's about becoming more responsible. It's becoming more powerful. It gets very, very deep. It's an ongoing journey. There is no end destination. This world is a world of manys. Of many. Let that be certain. So I'm looking around here, and I am in this part of the earth at the moment. In the future, I will be in another part of the earth, and I appreciate my time here as long as I've been here, and I look forward to future experiences. There's so much more I have to say, but for now, I'm just going to try to keep putting out a video every day and moving things forward to the best of my ability.